Hello, friends. It's Mr. Rogers here. And so the next week and a half, we're really focusing on this idea of uniformitarianism versus catastrophism. And this idea is a prevalent thing between the fight between, honestly, geology and biology. And what I mean by that is one of these is relatively the kind of rule of geology, which is uniformitarianism, and catastrophism is a biological rule. Actually, this is kind of interesting too. These two terms play a role in psychology as well. And as we go through, I want you to think about how does this play into humans and how maybe humans develop as people. So psychologists use this to kind of think about how humans are, what makes you you, I guess is a good way of putting it. So here we have uniformitarianism. I'd like you to write this down in some notes. Uniformitarianism is sometimes described as gradualism. And the idea is that things happen slowly over time, and they're slow incremental changes. They're not big changes, they're small. And all these small changes over thousands and millions of years make big changes. And some of the best examples of this are on the next slide, but are things like the rock cycle and water cycle and erosion, things that are predictable, slow, they take their time, and they are important for geology because what we do in geology now is we assume that everything in those water cycles, the rock cycles, erosion, and plate tectonics has always been about the same. And so we can try to rewind the Earth going backwards because if we know this is how fast it's going now, we can figure out what it used to look like 10 million years ago, 20 million years ago. And so uniformitarianism is really important in geology because that's the only way we can kind of figure out, okay, where was this at? And it works, honestly, for geology. It does pretty well, but it's a little bit different in biology. So these are some examples. And as you can see, I put slow because these things happen really slowly. We're talking plate tectonics moving a centimeter a year. These plates moving a centimeter a year. So, I mean, it takes thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years to even get anywhere of any great distance. And still, that's not even that far. 1,000 years, 1,000 centimeters. I mean, that's 10 meters. That's basically 40 feet. So you can kind of get the idea that it takes a very long time. As opposed to catastrophism, which is more of a biological thing, is the theory that Earth was largely shaped by sudden, short-lived, violent events, possibly worldwide in scope. That things happen fast, and they make change happen fast, and that in between these events, that the world, it might be changing slowly, but the major things that happen, the major changes happen really quick. They happen within a day, they happen within a month, they happen within a year, or even decade, or even honestly 500 to 1,000 years based on geological times is pretty quick. So catastrophism is a quick, sudden event. And there's a bunch of different examples of this. We're really going to focus on extinction in this class because all the natural disasters, man-made climate change, other events that occur that aren't on this list, most of them are kind of enveloped into the idea of extinction. And so these are fast changes that dynamically affect the Earth really, really, really quickly. And like I said at the beginning, psychologists use this idea for humans. Like, are we slowly changing into who we are, or are there quick bursts of change? And between those quick bursts, we're basically the same person after those bursts. So it's kind of an interesting thing to think about. You can think about the world almost like a person too. It's gone through a lot of different phases, gone through a lot of different just like phases, I guess. And you can kind of think about, okay, what made it the way it is. So that's a good primer for the week. We have a big project with rock cycle, water cycle this week. We're going to play some Gimkit. You're going to see with the project exactly what the quiz is going to kind of look like on Friday. And I hope it's a good week. And make sure you guys are doing your work on time and you're getting your work turned in. And I'd like all of our work turned in onto Canvas, even if it's a picture. I would still like it turned in on Canvas. So thank you guys. I appreciate it.